It was the largest empire in human history, covering 35 million square kilometers and ruling over 400 million people. From the vast deserts of Africa to the mountains of India, from the icy lands of Canada to the islands of the Pacific, no empire had ever ruled such a large part of the world. But how did Britain, a small island nation, create such a vast empire? And what led to its downfall? This is the story of the rise and fall of the British Empire. The British Empire did not rise overnight. Its story began in the 16th century, when England, inspired by Spain and Portugal, set out to explore the world. British merchants, backed by the powerful Royal Navy, established colonies in North America, the Caribbean, and Africa. But the real turning point came in 1600, when Queen Elizabeth I granted a charter to the East India Company. What started as a simple trading company would soon become the driving force of British imperial expansion. One battle changed the course of British rule in India forever: the Battle of Plassey in 1757. The East India Company, led by Robert Clive, faced off against the powerful Nawab of Bengal, Siraj-ud-Dowlah. With superior tactics and secret alliances, the British won a decisive victory, marking the beginning of their dominance in India. Within a century, nearly all of India would be under British control. By the 19th century, the British Empire had become the most powerful force on earth. With the help of the Industrial Revolution, Britain's economy boomed. Its navy was the strongest in the world, and its colonies provided vast amounts of resources: cotton from India, gold from Africa, and sugar from the Caribbean. At its peak in 1920, the British Empire controlled nearly a quarter of the world's land and 1 out of every 4 people on Earth. It was so vast that people said, "The sun never sets on the British Empire." The British Empire ruled the seas, and its naval supremacy was sealed in 1805 at the Battle of Trafalgar. The legendary Admiral Horatio Nelson led the British fleet against France and Spain. With a daring maneuver, Nelson's ships broke through enemy lines, securing a historic victory. Britain's navy now controlled the world's trade routes, allowing the empire to expand even further. On January 22, 1879, the British suffered one of their most shocking defeats at the Battle of Isandlwana. Confident in their firepower, they underestimated the Zulu warriors. Thousands of Zulu fighters launched a coordinated assault on the British camp. Outnumbered, nearly 1,300 British soldiers were wiped out. In February 1942, Singapore, Britain's strongest fortress in Asia, fell to the Japanese army in just 7 days. More than 80,000 British and Allied soldiers were taken prisoner. Churchill called it the worst disaster in British military history. But no empire lasts forever. The beginning of the end came with World War I and World War II. These wars drained Britain's economy, and the colonies started demanding freedom. The biggest blow came in 1947, when Britain lost its most valuable colony, India. After more than 200 years of British rule, India gained independence, followed by many other colonies in Africa and Asia. Within a few decades, the empire that once ruled a quarter of the world had collapsed. By the late 20th century, the British Empire was gone, but its legacy remains. Today, the English language is spoken in over 50 countries. British legal systems, railways, and institutions still shape modern nations. Even in former colonies, traces of the empire's influence can be seen everywhere. The British Empire was built on trade, war, and ambition. But in the end, even the greatest empires must fall.